Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Parker with Route4Me. It's a brave new world out there. We're going to be talking today. Looks like a few people are joining today's webinar. Great. Looks like I see Carl, Jim, I've got Nick. Looks like we've got Jack. Lisa's coming in. Okay, great. People are filtering in. All right, so good. This will be recorded, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just respect everyone's time. Appreciate everyone coming in today. Like I said, brave new world. We're going to be planning, talking today about how to plan smarter and deliver faster, and also add a human touch, to route planning and to your routes in general. So, for this webinar, we really want to show how a business owner can have, your dispatchers and drivers really boost operational efficiency and profits at the same time, and do it quickly and easily. So, like we said, plan smarter, deliver faster. Let's add a human touch. So, let's go ahead and get started. I just want to go ahead and jump in here. Can everyone see my screen? I just want to make sure. If you can just type in the chat window, that would be great. Jim says yes. Anyway, great, great. Okay. All right, and everyone can hear me, obviously. So very good. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm just at route4me.com, and I'm going to go ahead and log into my account. So if you don't have an account, you can go ahead and start a free trial, and we'll be happy to reach out and help you and see if we can help. So I'm going to go ahead and log in just basically to kind of a demo account here. And what you'll see here is my routing list. So I've just got a few routes that are saved in here. We try to keep things very user-friendly, so you can see all the icons on the left here. Very easy to navigate, very easy to use. I'm just on my routes list right now, so very simple to see that. So what I want to do is jump in and show you how to, I'm just going to jump into one of these routes and actually show how to, plan smarter. For a lot of our customers, they're doing routing manually right now, or they've got one person doing routing. I'm just going to jump into this particular route as an example. But they have customers that say, hey, can you only come to me during a certain time window? So, for example, hey, we'll go to, let's turn tracking off for now. I'll show you guys that in a second. But yeah, basically a time window. So it's very common to have this need. And it's very difficult, almost impossible, to accurately plan and optimize a route when you have time windows. What that means is that, if I click on number 2, the second location here, or I click on number 9, for example, if we scroll down a little bit, we'll see that maybe this actual stop needs a time window, meaning we can only go to that location within that time period. So we can only go to that location between, for example, 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. If we put a time window into this location and re-optimize or optimize a route originally with a time window, it's going to make sure that we arrive at that location within that arrival time. And we'll even get projected arrival times as well, and then we can see dynamic arrival times as the drivers use our mobile app in the field. So it's very, very helpful to have those time windows. You can have up to 2 time windows per stop. So does that make sense to everyone? Does that help? I know a lot of people. Does anyone struggle with time windows? If you in the chat, you can either raise your hand or just say yes, it's definitely been an issue, or just yes, or no, not at all. Okay, cool. It looks like Carl, yeah, definitely have had issues. Yeah, a lot of our customers tell us that they had customers calling saying, "Hey, where's my package?" or "Where's the guy? What's up? I'm waiting." And that's a big pain because obviously, your driver's doing the best, but if we haven't routed them properly, customers are going to be calling, they're going to be getting frustrated, and worst case scenarios, they're not going to be your customers anymore. So that's one way which you can just totally avoid that now. And I'll kind of show you something a little bit later. I think it's going to be really nice. I'll show you that. So, but yeah, one other feature I want to show you is to actually something we call geofencing. So, for example, if we zoom in, make sure I can see this. Yeah, it's on. So, if we zoom into number 9 here, this location. So let's go ahead and just keep with number 9. Lucky number 9. You can see this location, and we can switch it over to satellite view if we want to see. I kind of prefer the map view. but we can actually see this green circle on the map. This is a geofence. Now, let's go ahead and switch it over to satellite view and kind of see, like, okay, we can see that this is a residential area, and, the driver's coming to the right place. We can see that, it's taking us here, but for some reason, it's kind of like a little bit set back here, and that geofence is maybe a little far back, whereas maybe the driver's delivering a package or performing a service on the main house here. You say, hey, what the geofence is, before I tell you how to modify it, is that as soon as the driver enters this green circle, this green bubble, as long as they're using our mobile app, it will actually automatically detect the driver being as visited. And here in this section here where it says detected as visited, it will actually assign a geolocated timestamp. So you'll actually have proof that the driver was there and exactly when he was there. There's no way to falsify this because the driver actually has to enter this circle. And then as soon as they leave, you'll get another geolocated timestamp as soon as they leave that circle. You can also change this, so if you go to account settings, my account, and then settings, you can actually change the geofence size. So in this case, you might want to make the geofence larger. You might also want to change it to a square for whatever reason instead of a circle. So you can actually make them much larger. In this case, you would just probably make a little bit larger geofence for your drivers. Not so large that they just take up the whole screen, but large enough in this case, and you can change it to any size you want. Does that make
I'm
sense?
sorry, Jack here. So, is this helpful for knowing when a driver arrives? Is that what this is for?
Yeah, absolutely. So using our mobile app, of course, a driver can manually mark an address as visited. So you got mark as visited and mark as departed. So that's manual. But what happens when a driver forgets? Because quite honestly, it's human error. Even though we want to add that human touch, people can forget. It happens all the time. So as soon as the driver just goes to that location, it's going to automatically detect that he visited and detect that he departed. So yeah, absolutely, super helpful to know that you actually went to a location.
Okay,
Does
so
that make
does
sense,
that
Jack?
yeah, so does that mean that he wouldn't need to mark it as visit manually, or that it could just he could just show up and then I'll mark it for him?
Yeah, you certainly can. You certainly can do that. There's different things you can do with the mobile app to, for example, the driver can add a note, uh, add a picture, add a signature from the mobile app, and then quickly mark as visited. But if the driver just shows up to the location and doesn't do any of that, doesn't mark it as visited, it will actually select it and detect him as visited.
Okay, great.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Super helpful, right? Like, because you never know, if a driver forgets to check into a location, and come on, it can happen. I mean, if you go to 100 stops in a day, it's probably easy to kind of miss it. And it's just human error. I mean, I think you could take, the smartest person in the world, stick them in a truck, go to 100 stops in a day, or even 10 stops in a day. Likelihood of the missing one, by manually checking it off, is very high. It's going to happen. So this is kind of a foolproof way to make sure you actually get all those. Does that make sense, Jack?
Yep.
Cool. All right, so I want to go ahead and also show you just a little bit of information so you can actually see as well. Let's switch it back over to map view. This is just a sample, but when the driver is actually using our mobile app as well, let's turn on the tracking information, for example. So let's go ahead and see where users are live in the field, or let's go ahead and see a little breadcrumb trail of where they have gone. So we can actually see here, here's a little breadcrumb trail. We can see that the green route is the planned route. The blue route is the actually executed route. So we're basically tracking the phone. We also have telematics providers that we can hook into. If you have in-vehicle tracking, we can show that as well. But basically, we've got the information here. If you hover over any of these dots, like for example, you can see the speed here, 0 miles per hour. You can actually, see what your drivers are doing in the field, and that's super helpful, especially if you got new drivers, you got high turnover, whatever it is. You just want to check in on your drivers, have that peace of mind. You want to make sure your drivers are avoiding speeding. You don't want to, preventing potential liability claims against the business due to reckless behavior. It's a really big issue and can be really costly to business owners. So this is a really easy way to check in on your drivers. You can also check in and see if drivers are having trouble with specific areas or during a specific time of day. So you can actually check in on that and say, okay, my drivers always have an issue with this area, whatever it is, like in this particular area, they're always having an issue there, or I know I don't want my drivers to go there. So you can actually create an avoidance zone. So if I switch over to avoidance zones here, and when you're planning the route, so you name the route, you schedule the route, you set up the settings for the route, you can actually create an avoidance zone and say, hey, I want to make sure to avoid the tunnel, for example. This is New York City metro area. Let's avoid the Holland Tunnel, and you can draw on a map. You can even change the shape of this, change the size, or draw multiple avoidance zones, whatever it is. Of course, if there's a delivery or a stop or an address on the route that's in the avoidance zone, there's the route's going to take you to it. And there's no way to avoid that. But the system will route you around avoidance zones if you want that. Does that make sense to everyone on the chat? If you say yes, is that helpful? Yes, yes, definitely. Cool. Okay. Well, great. All right. So, one other way I think it's really helpful from customers' feedback when they talk to us is, of course, the time windows, so people aren't left waiting is super helpful. And they're not calling into the office. They're not saying, hey, where is the guy? Anything like that. There's also a really nice feature that is sort of new here, actually. So, depending on when you're watching this webinar, this is recorded, so it may change a little bit. But actually, what you can see is it's really helpful to notify customers in advance. I'll turn tracking off here. So we can actually notify customers in advance. So, for example, we've got the customer information here. If we've got the email address and phone, you'll see that there's a tracking number that's now associated with this location. And if the customer actually has a email address or phone number in here, what you can do is as soon as this route is planned and you're happy with this route, you say, okay, we're going to go ahead and assign this to one of our drivers, and that driver is going to execute it. What you can do is click Operations and then Approve to Execute. So when you do this, all of your customers on the route are notified with estimated arrival times by email, SMS, text message, and voice. So it's super, super helpful. And basically, they're going to get an email, they're going to get a text, and at any time they can basically log in and kind of see what their estimated arrival time is. So on the text, it'll take them to a very friendly mobile page. This is the page you can kind of see here. Depending on your package, we can customize some of these things, of course. But basically, we're going to see, okay, this is great. The driver's on route. The estimated arrival time is here, and the drivers can actually look in. So that's a way to actually notify customers. The really big benefit here is customers aren't calling in saying, where's the guy, where's my package, you didn't come, whatever it is, because they get updated via text and email when they're coming and when they've actually gone to the address. So even if the customer's away and you deliver a package, they get a notification that says, hey, your package has now been delivered. It's super, super helpful. And it really adds a human touch. So, people know that, hey, this person's coming, and they can actually see it. So it's super, super helpful. So any questions from anyone before? Has this been helpful to kind of help you realize that you can plan smarter, deliver faster, and also add that human touch to route planning? So anyone have any questions?
Jack here. So I have a question. I have I would call them risky drivers. Sometimes they don't do what they're supposed to, and sometimes they, it's a little embarrassing. But sometimes we get notified that they're being reckless on the road. And I was wondering if Route4Me could help with any of that. If that's with um, uh, I think you call them a dispatcher, or if that's some other thing that you haven't shown yet. But we're really looking for a solution to help us identify that behavior.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Probably the biggest thing to give you that first glance is to just like pull up a route and view that tracking data. So one thing that you just pull up the route, say, hey, I want to check out the route, and I'm just going to click all time, and you say, okay, I want to view what my drivers were actually doing. You can kind of see very quickly at a glance that this driver went off route for some reason. You can very quickly pull up the speed information. You can pull up the direction. They're stopped at this point, and and the timing of everything. This is just a breadcrumb trail of where they were. So basically, when they're using our mobile app, meaning you've already assigned this route to the driver, they've pulled it up on the mobile app. They're now going and executing everything. What happens then is that our system will actually ping that phone every few seconds, and basically put a little breadcrumb trail and take all of that data. So basically, you're going to see it very quickly. So you can at any time log in and basically see that data and get that data very quickly. There's also, of course, we have integration partners. If you want more advanced levels, just talk to us. We'd be happy to refer you to a partner who does more of the telematics side of things and that kind of thing. So, yeah, does that answer the question, Jack? Does that help?
Yep, it sure does.
Great. All right, I think we'll just go ahead and wrap it up from there. We'll finish up. And again, my name is Parker with Route4Me. Thanks, everyone, for joining. If you haven't yet started a free trial, go ahead and head over to route4me.com and start a free trial. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.